Hi guys, it's Katie with String Expert. Today we are working on part 3 of the Violin Concerto No. 4. Now I would recommend that you go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. That way when the next part comes out, you'll know about it sooner and be ready to listen, watch, and learn how to play. So let me play for you the main theme and then the odd tempo variation that we learned in the last video, and then the new section that we're going to learn today, so you can kind of hear the 3 different parts and how they work together. So as you can hear, we have 3 very distinct and different parts. So we're going to start at the 6/8 section, right after the odd tempo. So we have the very, very long ritardando, we're sort of slow, and then we want to move on to the 6/8 section. So remember, 6/8 timing means that we're going to count things differently, because instead of having the quarter note as the beat, we're going to have the 8th note as the beat. So anytime you see an 8th note in this 6/8 section, you're going to count 1. And anytime you see a quarter note, instead of counting 1, you're going to count 2. And then we want to have this as sort of a waltzy feel. So we want to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually have a violin teacher that works for String Expert and teaches, and she actually makes her students, when they learn the 6/8, get up and dance as they learn the 6/8, so they can sort of feel the pacing of the music. But for me, what I like to do is just think in my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that really helps me make sure that I keep the tempo right. So let's start with the 6/8 section, and then we'll figure out how to add the ritardando into the 6/8 and make it all work together. So the other thing that we need to pay attention to in this piece is the fact that we start in the key of G major, and now we're going to transition into the key of B flat major. So we're going to have a completely different hand position and finger position. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a low first finger. It's going to be pulled back on the A string and the E string, and then our second finger is going to be right here next to our first finger tape. Now be very careful when you're playing a key signature like this, because when you pull your first finger back, your second finger has a tendency to want to slide back with it, and you'll be really out of tune. So really make sure that your second finger is in that right spot. If you still have your chromatic tuner, try and pull that out and work with that as you're playing this piece. The other thing to remember is we also have E flat. So we're going to have a low first finger, second fingers right by the first finger tape, third finger is on the third finger tape, but then our fourth finger is going to be right next to our third finger on the A string only. So we really want to make sure that they're squashed together really, really close. Okay, let's start at the 6/8 and let's go through the notes slowly. So we have B flat, D, G. So our first finger, instead of being on the tape, remember, it's going to be back next to the nut. Then F natural, D, B flat. And as you can see, we have a group of 3 8 notes and a group of 3 8 notes. This is a good place to get started and get warmed up with the waltz. So you want to think da 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 da. Hopefully singing a little bit better than I do. But if you want to think in your head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's try that. Then we have C natural to D. And then B flat to F sharp. So let's try those two measures. Then it's a repeat of the first measure. Then we have A, C sharp, D, F natural. So we have A, and then we have our C sharp. So we're going to slide our second finger up so it's right on the tape. And then we're going to go over and we're going to play D, and then as we slide over here, we're going to put our second finger right next to our first finger for F natural. So let's try that whole beginning first 4 measures. Then it repeats on with the same phrase that we just learned. Then we have G, A, B, D, B, G, D, F sharp, so a high second finger. Let's try that whole section. Sound for this next section, and we really need to pay attention to the timing. So we have a dotted quarter note, so what we're going to think is 3 counts. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in order to keep the timing right for this section, a lot of students sometimes have a tendency to, slow down or speed up. So in order to keep the timing right, what I would do is think in our head 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As we play these next notes, because they're not complicated, but we can hold them too long if we're not careful. So let's try that. We start with the B flat on the G string. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we have an open D, 4, 5, 6. F natural, 1, 2, 3. D, D, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Like that, really, really simple. we have a B and a D. Now we have E natural, so our finger is right on the tape, to a G, F natural, to B flat. So pay attention to that. E to G, F to B flat. So let's try that whole section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good, just like that. Let's try it without me counting. And then it goes on, we have B and D, F natural, D, D, then we go on to B flat and D, F natural, D, B flat. Now, we have the next section, we like to call this the Concerto No. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that correctly. But we want to have a little bit of a more fun, upbeat tempo. That's what that word means. So we want it to be bright and fun and cheery. And we're going back to sort of the play on the odd tempo where we have some staccato and some legato notes. So we're going to kind of play with that a little bit. So let me play this little section for you and then we'll learn it. Let's learn that. Okay, so we're going to start with D, E flat, and D. B flat, G, B. So remember, we're going to play E flat. So we're going to have a low fourth finger right next to your third finger, and then we're going to have a B flat. So we're going to pull our first finger back and make sure it's right there next to the tape. Let's try that measure again. D, E flat, E, D, B, G, B flat. Then we have A, B flat, A, F sharp, G, D. Let's try that again. A, B flat, A, F sharp, so high second finger, G, D. And then just be very careful and very mindful of the staccato notes because that's where it gets really playful and interesting is the staccato and the legato. Let's try those first two measures together. And then moving on, we have D, E flat, D, C sharp, D, G. And then we have F sharp, G, F sharp, F natural, G, F natural, C, F natural, E flat. Okay, let's try that again. So we have F sharp, F, G, F, C, F, E flat. Okay, let's try the whole section. And let's try it nice and slow. And then moving on, we have D, E flat, so low fourth finger, D, B flat, low first finger, G, B flat. So D, E flat, B flat, G, B flat. Let's try that again. Now let's try the entire section again. on, we have A, B flat A, F sharp, G, G. And there, instead of using a fourth finger, my preference is to use an open A, just so that it's interesting. So let's try that again. We have A, B flat A, F sharp, G, G. And then starting from the beginning. Okay, let's try it a little bit faster. C, D, E flat, D, G, G, and then we have D, C natural, B flat, A, G, F natural. So D, C natural, B, A, G, F natural. Let's try that whole section. Now we move on to the next section, which is a repeat of the beginning of the 6/8 section. So if you learn that really, really well, then you already know this next section. So let me play it for you. Now you know the entire 6/8 section. So let's play from the beginning to the end of the 6/8 section, and then we'll talk a little bit about tempo and that type of thing. What's really difficult about the 6/8 section is you really have to indicate to the audience that you're not making a mistake. You're playing in 6/8. So it's really important to distinguish the two tempos. And then also when you get to the sforzando, you want to be very careful to go just a little bit faster, give a little bit more punch. And then when you go back to the espressivoso section, you want to have longer, smoother bows and a little bit slower tempo. So this piece is a lot about controlling your tempo and controlling the notes and controlling what the audience thinks about you as you're playing it. So what I want you to do is go back to the first few measures that you start to retardando before you get to the 6/8 section. We're going to slowly go slower, 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 and then I want you to take a deep breath before you start that 6/8 section to just really give an indication to the audience that this is different. Then you need to think very clearly in your head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or they're not going to understand that this is a waltz section. We're changing tempos, we're changing up the whole feel of the piece in this section. Okay, so we're going to start at 1, 2, 3 measures before the 6/8 at the 3D section. Now I'm slowing down a lot, starting here. Really obnoxiously slow. Now here's the pickup note, the F to the 6/8. So the F is almost like a teaser. So you can do a short little F, you can do a little bit of an F, you can do a longer F, which is sort of my preference. But then right when you hit the 6/8, you need to be very clear about the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's almost like you're switching songs. Like, I don't know if you've heard a DJ playing. They sort of are able to switch songs and it sounds very seamless. This is sort of like the old school version of that. So we want to be able to switch to that 6/8 tempo and then move forward from there. All right, then when we get to this sforzando, we want to be a little bit faster and a little bit brighter. And then we're going to slow down a little bit right before we get to the espressivoso section, where we're going to be very expressive. So that's the entire section with the 6/8. I hope you enjoyed learning about it. Of course, if you need the music or you want the other videos, go to my website, stringexpert.com, and go to the how-to page for that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.